All right, hey folks, thanks for tuning in. Another active shooter event's happened, this time in Sutherland Springs, Texas. And at the time of making this video, I think the body count's somewhere around 25. Whether you came here and you're angry or you're upset or you're fearful for your congregation in the future, those are all reasonable responses, but let's be prayerful for those hurting folks in Texas, the families, the congregation members, because this is awful. Now, I'm not focusing as much on this event. I'm using it instead as a springboard so that I can hopefully help some churches that are out there. People ask me all the time to speak into church security. As my background, I'm an ex-special operations guy. My full-time job, I travel the country teaching tactics and firearms stuff. That's my full-time job. I've also served on multiple church security teams over the last decade, including organizing one, writing security plans and developing team SOPs, and also being contracted out occasionally by churches. I've got another one coming up soon here. Anyway, I want to be a help to you folks out there, and so the idea is in the future I'll handle this more systematically and progressively in different videos so that we have more of a holistic care taken to church security. But I wanted to give you guys 3 quick tips that would immediately allow your congregation to be a lot safer. Tip number 1, and many of you pastors or deacons, y'all won't like this, but it's absolutely, I believe, a good idea. Employ a uniformed police officer on Sunday mornings and any other time where you have a big gathering of people. Now, this is good for a few reasons, and I know what you'll say in response, so I'll handle your objection as well. It's good in the event that, well, people are going to be safer and they'll feel safer. Your congregation will grow by at least one, whoever that cop is that's on duty, and it also can cover you for liability purposes, and if you have a huge disruption, now you have somebody there with arrest authority. There's lots of good stuff that can come from it. Now the negative, the thing you won't like is you're rightfully concerned with how the congregation, how the church will feel. Churches are inviting places, open arms, whoever you are, come as you are, your race or your background and your junk, your political affiliation, all of it irrelevant. Come as you are, we just love you and we want to talk about Jesus too. That's a Christian church. Now, as such, with a message of peace, it can make churches very, very easy targets for active shooters who have more nefarious intent and you have benevolent intent. They can come in and just shoot you up because you're not ready for that, right? And so you can have somebody there as a cop who is ready. Now, you are concerned about protecting the culture of your church, and it's a good idea. You're afraid that people will come to church, they see a cop, and all of a sudden they will be fearful. Here's my answer. They're already fearful. They already are. Look at all these active shooter events that have been happening over the last decade, and they seem to be getting worse, especially regarding churches. People are already scared, and if the case in Sutherland Springs can teach us anything, it's this can happen anywhere, anytime. In the news article that I just read, somebody even said to police or reporters, I just never thought it would happen to us. What makes you different? Why couldn't it happen to you? Why are you the exception? And the fact is it can happen anywhere, anytime. And so we have a duty of care, and you as a pastor, a shepherd, and I'm not trying to kick you in the teeth here or call you out, but shepherd, there's a physical aspect to that as well, right? So anyway, let's make sure we have safe environments and say no more dead congregation members on our watch, right? Let's build good security teams and mobilize the congregation. It'll be a good thing. So that's number 1, employ a cop. They'll get some extra money too, and now they're at church on Sunday. That's a good thing. So number 2 is don't tell people to carry firearms, but allow select individuals to carry firearms. Now, as a firearms instructor, I am terrified at the idea of a whole lot of folks that are carrying in church. I feel like that guy's going to miss the bad guy and shoot the old lady across the, and that's a real objection. So what you'll want to do is identify individuals, and you don't say, hey, will you carry? You instead say, you know what, if you carried, I wouldn't forbid that. And so now you're not assuming liability for it. And you can say, but I want you to do this one thing. I want you to pass the same qualification, and it won't be official, but pass the same qualification as local police do. And so that's a good duty of care. It's a good due diligence that passes the buck for liability. So now this person that was carrying has the same, at least minimum training standard as your local law enforcement. So what can you do? So that's a good thing as well. Allow people to carry guns. The best way to stop someone with a gun is with a gun. That's just the way it is. Anti-gun legislation will not disarm the bad guys. It will only disarm the good guys. That's not going to be your saving grace. Tip number 3. Allow a church security team to arise. And there's a whole lot that goes into successfully building a good church security team, for building the culture and anything, but allow them to be, teachable, kind-hearted folks that are also trained. You'll have ex-cops there, ex-military folks. Use that and develop a good culture. They should be kind of confused as greeters, but they're looking around. They're stationed in key places around the church, and they're serving as a ministry, so it'll be good for all. More people are being mobilized in your congregation to actually serve and give back, and that's a good thing. But allow them to be protectors, heads up, looking for these threats, so that we can really keep this tragedy from befalling your congregation in the future, right? So hope this was helpful. Actually, I know this was helpful. Do it. Train hard, train smart, and I'll see you in the future. Later, guys.